Ladies and gentlemen, CocoSports.com proudly presents The War Room. And of course, I am the sexiest man on all Internet Wrestling Radio. That's right, boom, boom, here, Shaking Room, live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Filling in for Dave Koco. For those of you who may not know, Koco's a little indisposed right now. He's working on some business stuff. You know, he's slapping some skin, doing some other things, working on his book deal. So he asked me to fill in. So, and I've contacted LK, can't get a hold of him. So, well, the show must go on, and so I'm here. And for those of you who follow Dave, he had a photo shoot this past week. Promoting his, he's got a book coming out, so I recommend you check out, read, especially if you have a strong stomach, because trust me, you'll understand what I'm talking about soon enough. No, it's actually funny. If you follow him on Facebook, he's got all these pictures, and I just want to hold a caption contest on others. They're fucking hilarious. You know, Dave is wearing his trademark Tokyo Giants baseball cap, a long sleeve New Japan pro wrestling t-shirt, and pinstripe dress slacks. Yes, only Dave Koco could think that actually works. But anyway, or as Dave would say, any nuts. Of course, another Wednesday is in the books. It's time for another Wednesday Night War. NXT, TNA Impact, and Ring of Honor all going head to head to head. It's getting pretty crazy. Now, I don't want to know. The first question I want to know is, who do you think won the war? How do you rank them? So who do you think came in first, second, and third? What do you give the shows overall? What do you give them win, loss, or ties? Down here in the comments section, be sure to let me know. I'll be answering your questions and comments throughout the evening as we do this, as we do the review here. I'm going to look at it. This was an okay week. There was nothing extremely outstanding this week, in my opinion. I think all three shows did a pretty good job. I'm going to give a slight edge, and I do sure a slight edge to NXT. I think they just edged out the better show because TNA, I'm not a huge fan of TNA, but even I think TNA did a pretty good job this week. You know, I think they did a good job, kind of coming off the Global Force Wrestling feud, and now they're setting up for their WrestleMania, Bound for Glory. It's not a perfect setup. I think they kind of screwed the pooch on this. They kind of turned around and was like, oh, crap, we got like 2 weeks till our big event of the year. Shit, I guess it's time to start promoting that and get matches together for that. And then Ring of Honor was just I cut Ring of Honor some slack on this one. It was not a bad show. It was actually a pretty good show, but it was recorded back in August, back in Philadelphia. This is back when they had some of the New Japan stars on there. And this was coming right off All-Star Extravaganza, which was a pretty good pay-per-view. On the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and I know it's too late to do this, so without doing a Ring of Honor pay-per-review, excuse me, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the last two matches were a little bit of a cluster, at the end. But aside from that, I think it was a good pay-per-view. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Had new champions crowned, new champions crowned. We had new tag team champions. We have a new number one contender. Pretty good, but overall, I was interested. I was anxious to see the fallout from All-Star Extravaganza, but Ring of Honor, with the way it's recorded, the way their programming schedule runs, it would have been just logistically impossible to have any kind of follow-up. So they did sub it in with a good, it was a decent show, a pretty good, 6-man main event. You had Okada teaming up with Punky Vice, taking on the Briscoes and Hiroki Goto. So I think that was a decent main event. But any nuts, let's get on here with the review. Like I said, I'm going to give the slight edge to NXT. I just think of all the shows this week, they did a better job setting up storylines and getting ready to as they march towards TakeOver Respect, which is in 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks as of this recording. And the bad thing about it being in 2 weeks is it's in, plus with NXT being on Wednesdays now, I got a conflict now. Is NXT is going to be the same night that Arrow debuts, and that's something me and my wife really enjoy watching together. So it's like, what should I do? Should I just try to catch Arrow on rerun, through the interwebs, or should I watch NXT and do the review immediately, or should I put off the review, or should I just pass it off to Dave? Tell me, people, what should I do? Should I watch Arrow because it's like my favorite show? Me and my wife enjoy watching that show together. But NXT, Takeover, Respect over at Full Sail. It's a decent card. I'm really excited for the main event. What should I watch? What would you do if you were in my shoe? I mean, would you skip Arrow, skip the debut for that week, and just kind of watch it online and catch up, or watch it immediately, do a review, a takeover? Let me know. Remember, it's not just me here. So this is also involving my wife. I'm also going to have to explain this to her. So, let me know what you would do and what would your reasoning be behind it, because I'm going to have to defend my decision either way around. Because I'm going to have to either defend it, my decision to my wife or Coco. And between you and me, I'm not going to tell everybody this, but frankly, I'm more scared of my wife than I am Coco. So bear that in mind. All right. Anyway, enough of my babbling around here. Let's talk about, since I mentioned it here, let's do NXT first. NXT, I think it was a decent show. You had, let's see, you're seeing a new heel character emerge in Eva Marie. You're seeing the new challenger, or not a new challenger, but a new match was named over on TakeOver. And then I'm kind of smelling something fishy here with with Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. I'll let you in on that in just a moment. We saw a pretty good tag team defense match. And then, of course, we saw the contract signing, which in Dave's realm, it gets an automatic loss. But this wasn't like a contract signing in the sense of, oh, here's the big main event. No, it's welcome to NXT. And you know what? Let's just get down and dirty with it here. First match here, Eva Marie versus Carmella. Eva Marie got the win via a count out. I think this was a amazing match, especially for these two. And some people are just spit whatever you're drinking all over your screen right now. I can just hear the keyboards clacking. They're typing hate now right now. It's like, booms, how could you say that was an amazing match? I will say is for Carmella, she has really come a long way this year. Go back and watch some of her stuff when she wrestled Alexa Bliss back in the spring. It was just it was bad. Let's just not pussyfoot around it. It was bad. She's a lot more fluid in the ring. She's settling into a role. She's a lot more comfortable. They've actually got Creative has actually done a good job with Carmella, because, and I've mentioned this before, is that Creative has got people cheering for Carmella. And it's not just because she was in the ring with Eva Marie. No, they were actually legitimately cheering for her. She was doing the moonwalk, the how you doing. People were, really enjoying it. And the same crowd, man, Full Sail gave absolute hell to Ava. They actually fucking hate her. Now, I should mention on this one, I think I'd mentioned this a few weeks ago, that there were late talks that WWE was kind of going over NXT's heads, and they were saying something about they were wanting Ava Marie to become the NXT Women's Champion. They were trying to, I guess, set up a program to make that possible, because she's on Total Divas, and plus people love a comeback story. And so, but now I think WWE is actually pumping their brakes on that. It's looking like with the new talent they have coming in, and I'll talk about one of them in just a moment. I think that the plans may have changed, and I think what they're doing personally is, I think they're getting this as soon as the next crop of women, and I'm talking about Jessie, Peyton, now Asuka, Emma, Dana, hell, even Eva Marie, and Carmella, Alexa Bliss. As soon as this next crop is ready, I think they're ready to take it on their own. I think that's when Bayley drops the belt and gets called up. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So I'm not saying Bayley's like a placeholder, but she's an amazing champion. She deserves the spot that she's in, and she deserves this time to enjoy it. And I think, she actually gives like a big boost of credibility right now to the women's division, especially with Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha all up on the main roster now. So trust me, Bayley, there'll be plenty. Enjoy it now, because there'll be plenty of time for Stephanie McMahon to squash your fucking dreams soon enough. Oh, and plus, it looks like WWE is pretty much going with the heel role with Ava Marie. They pretty much gave her the full all-out heel role. They do mention a couple of weeks where she wrestled Jessie and got. It looked like she had lost, but so she did this little vignette where during the match they pops up during the match, like thanking the referee for seeing that her shoulder was off the mat, blowing a kiss at the referee. And I'm like, okay. And then the crowd's just giving her hell. You can't wrestle. And then all botch everything, chanting for Super Dragon. They were just giving her hell. Uh, she eventually got the upper hand on Carmella, thrown to the outside. Carmella bangs her head. She's slow to get up. Can't beat the 10 count. Gets the win via count out. Not bad. And plus, Ava Marie, as much hell as we give her, and by we, I mean all of us here with the Internet Infantry, you got to admit she's gotten a lot better, especially this match. I've seen a little bit more. Now, does that mean she's amazing? She needs to be the women's champion? She doesn't. No. Slow the fuck down. Don't put words in my mouth here. I'm saying she's better. She's better. And I think if she keeps working at it and keeps this pace up, I think she's going to be a pretty decent women's wrestler before everything's said and done. I mean, that's a good way to earn. It's a good way to earn my respect. And the only other person who's earned my respect, kind of like Eva Marie has, is Moose over in Ring of Honor. It's just one of those. If you suck, but you know that you suck, and you're like, I don't want to suck anymore, so I'm going to start, working hard. And I'm going to try to overcome this. I'm going to try to prove my critics wrong. And I see that you're making an effort. You know what? You're good. You're okay with me in my book. I'm just saying. Let me know how you think about it. Also, there was another vignette for Nia Jax coming in. She is actually the Rock of the cousin. Okay, let's rearrange those words and pretend it made sense. She is the cousin of the Rock. She's another cousin of the Rock. So much like Roman Reigns. So let's hope this cousin of the Rock can actually wrestle. Sorry for the cheap shot. I kind of wish that she would hurry up and debut. I don't know if she's. This kind of reminds me back in the '90s. You remember when Glacier was going to debut in WCW, but they kept pushing it back. So you kept for like months. You just kept seeing all these vignettes. Glacier's coming, Glacier's coming, Glacier's coming, and they kept pushing it back. That's what I'm kind of feeling right now with Nia Jax. She's coming, she's coming. I'm thinking she may pop up. Considering we've got a women's main event, I'm thinking she may do. If WWE's going to do something bold, I can actually picture after that the main event, Bayley and Sasha. We're now going to be dubbing the Iron Maiden match. 2 minutes to midnight. Oh, sorry, wrong Iron Maiden. My bad. Sorry, and I apologize for singing. I know, bad boom boom for singing. I think if they want to get bold, they may have her attack Bayley after that match. Be like, hey, I'm Nia Jax. I'm here to kick your ass. Boom, and then here we go. Because as soon as you're done with Steamboat Flair, you got to start Steamboat or Flair Funk. Why not? Pretty crazy, guys. Pretty crazy. Real quick, I got some comments here. But keep your questions, keep your comments rolling. We got plenty to get to here. LB Clash of Kings, he says, I'm going to do a new series where each month I'm going to say which women's match was the best women's match of the month. Last month in August, it's Sasha versus Bayley at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Well, duh. This month, Gail Kim Jade won best women's match of the month. Oh, okay. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on in the TNA review. Let's see, and he also says, where the heck is Koco? He better not be wanking to my Kana, but he'll probably take the day off because of the contract signing. And maybe that's for the best because now I don't have to listen to him bitch about contract signings and stuff. No, he's handling stuff. LB, he's handling stuff with, he's handling like family stuff. He's handling business stuff. So he's got me filling in for him. And I would do this show anyway, so I'm just doing it solo. It's the only thing, nothing serious, nothing to be alarmed about. It's just Koco handling business. It's I guess, the pitfall to being well is this is probably the healthiest I've probably seen Koco since the first time I actually met him back in, 07, 08. It was somewhere around that ballpark. Yeah, it was 07 because it was before I graduated. Yeah, this is the healthiest I've seen him since then, and since his health has picked up, he's gotten busy. His book career's taken off. His son's now doing stuff with commercials in Japan. I mean, it's great. And speaking of Coco, he actually sent me, like, it was like a funny message on Facebook that his wife's talking about moving back to America. It's like, well, how much are we going to need? And it's like, well, and Coco, he wants to live back in Tampa. He's a South Florida guy. But don't, hey, that's not his fault. Nobody's perfect. But he wants to go back around the Tampa Bay area, or excuse me, Tampa, and live comfortably there. And it's like, well, how much will we need? It's like 500,000. Well, let's make it $1 million. So So if you want to see Dave Coco back in the U.S., start a Kickstarter campaign and raise $1 million, and you can get Coco here. There you go. Adrian Carmonte, I just butchered your name and I apologize. I'm hoping the main event of Bound for Glory be EC3 versus Jeff Hardy, not Drew Galloway. You guys agree, or should it have been someone else? I kind of agree with you, Adrian. I really do. I'll get into that a little bit later, but no, I completely agree with you. I think that would have been reasonable. And by the way, I got 4 thumbs up. Hell yeah, let's keep going. Let's see if I can get 12. Just give me 12. I don't know why 12. Why the 12 has any significance whatsoever, but see if you can get me 12 thumbs up. So if you get thumbs up, me go ahead for it. Let's go for 12. Next, we had Tyler Breeze versus Bull Dempsey. Oh, yeah. Oh. I like Tyler Breeze, I really do. And Bull Dempsey, look, I'm Southern, so if you're not from the South, you're probably not going to get this, but I'll just say, bless his heart. And for those of you like, well, not from the deep South, well, what does that mean? It usually, bless your heart is something that we say in the South. It's where you say something nasty about somebody, but by saying bless your heart, it's like you're kind of like, leaving yourself of like the guilt, saying something nasty. It's like it's like, oh, that's got to be the ugliest son of a bitch in the county. Bless his heart. It means it's like you said something nasty, but you're trying to offset it and, not try to sound so mean. It's like you're sympathizing with them. It's like, Bull Dempsey is just a fucking horrible wrestler or a horrible performer. Bless his heart. I think Dempsey's a flop. LK is pretty much a big proponent or opponent of Bull Dempsey. I'm not a huge fan of the guy. They tried him heel, they tried him face. I think the bullfit thing's not working, and I know why they went with bullfit, because people were chanting bull after this intro music, bull, bull, and people in between were chanting shit. So now they're like, okay, and I don't know if it was a stroke of genius or they were tired of Full Sail University screaming shit and them having to cover that up. So they said, okay, let's do this bull fit. It's kind of like Sweating to the Oldies. He'll do that and people can chant bull fit and we don't have to edit things out. I don't know where the hell they were going with this. But the match itself wasn't very good. Tyler Breeze looked great, is amazing. He got the win with his feet on the ropes. I know they're trying to save face for Bull Dempsey, but in kayfabe in this world, in the NXT world here, Bull Dempsey really needed the win. He goes in with Tyler Breeze in part of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. He winds up costing his team the win. So Gargano and Ciampa went over him. Breeze, obviously, just beats the crap out of him. Bull Dempsey comes back last week, demands like a match. He's ready to shove Tyler Breeze's teeth right down his throat. Tyler Breeze, they get this match now, and I guess NXT was like, well, let's have Tyler Breeze win because we can't have him lose, but we can't have Bull Dempsey look bad, so let's have Tyler Breeze cheat. And it just, for me, I felt like, if I was booking it, I would have had, as much as I'm not a fan of the guy, I mean, I do recognize that he's trying here. I just don't think it made sense. I don't think it worked. Bull Dempsey really needed to win the match. Now that he's lost this, I don't know what the hell to do with him now. I think it's just time to put the bull out to pasture. What say you? Let me know what you think down here in the comment section. Time to put the bull out to pasture. Anyway, then they did a highlight package detailing the NXT's tour in West Texas, particularly the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. There was a huge upset. Dash and Dawson upset the tag team champions, the Vaudevillains, to advance in the tournament. We've also found out that at NXT TakeOver Respect from Full Sail University on October the 7th, there will be 3 matches involving the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. There will be the 2 semifinal matches, and the winners of those will advance to the finals match, and the winners of that, of course, will win the Tag Team Classic. But I like this. It showed a big packed crowd. They showed people having fun. Plus the NXT kind of gave off this impression, and it was true, that the house show mattered. These house shows matter. They count for something. You just weren't out there, spinning your wheels. It counted for something. And speaking of counting for something, man, did you hear this shit about Finn Balor and his comments this week? Now, chances are you have, because you've been on the dirt sheets probably about as much as I have. But Finn Balor, man, started to talk a little smack here with NXT versus WWE in the main roster. Somebody mentioned this. Last year Finn Balor said he was going to be at WrestleMania 32. In fact, he said, and I quote, "Unless I'm dead, I'm going to be on WrestleMania 32." And now he's the champion, and now he's saying, you know what, I don't even want to be on. This was during the tour of Texas. He was saying, I don't even want to be on WrestleMania 32 now. It's like we're building so much good things with NXT. We're moving forward. We got a lot of momentum. It's like we want to do a show the night before WrestleMania and look at the main roster and say, all right, guys, top that. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the smack talk there. It lets me know that these guys have got some pride. And the thing about NXT, and I think the reason why this works so much better than the main roster, is because there's really no politics with NXT. And by that, I mean it's, Finn Balor. Let's just use Finn Balor since I just mentioned him. Finn Balor's the champion, but do you think he's going to go backstage and talk to Triple H or who else is running things there? William Regal, Jason Albert, and go, you know what? I'm just going to make this up here. No, I'm not putting over Tyler Breeze. I'm the champion. I'm a bigger draw than him. No, there's no way I'm wrestling this guy and fucking losing to him. I don't care what. I mean, dude, they would take the belt off of him and have him jobbing for like the next 2 months. NXT, it's not like that. It's pretty much you do what they tell you to do, and if you don't, they've got plenty of other hungry people. Whereas on the main roster, you're gonna have to kind of step around John Cena. Because, like it or not, Cena politics backstage, thus why his Squeeze, his plastic doll, is now has the record for the longest Divas title reign. And no, I'm not going to let that go. No, that's why. Because, you can play politics on the upper cards, or Vince McMahon can change things. Whereas NXT, everybody's working together, and you know what? You do what you're told, but I think it's done fairly, where the best performing talent gets to be on TV, the people who connect the most with the crowd get to push, and people with the most talent get a chance to shine. And it's so simple. And the storylines are simple; they're easy to follow. They get you emotionally invested, and you're ready to go. And I think that's why NXT is working. And I fully agree. I would, NXT sold out the Barclays Center last month, before the night before SummerSlam. With them going to Dallas, I doubt NXT would sell out. The Cowboy Stadium. I think it's basically we call it Jerryland. It's what some people call it. I think it's like $1 billion stadium. I doubt they would sell that out. But God, man, I would love to find like a nearby arena that maybe they could sell out. That would just be fucking awesome. All right, let me take a few more comments. This is actually kind of cool. I can actually get all my thoughts out one without Dave Koco here. Sorry, Dave. Love you, bro. Let's see what other people are saying here. Oh, got 2 thumbs down. I asked for thumbs up, and I got thumbs down. So, yeah, shame on me. I know. Fuck me, right? The guy on internet who doesn't lie for views. He writes, Drew Galloway, the leader of the stand-up Occupy Wall Street 99% versus EC3% privileged, self-entitled 1%. It writes itself. Who's better to dethrone the EC3 character than Drew? But I think Jeff will cost Drew the match and turn heel. Interesting. LB Clash of Kings. NXT has little politics for a few months ago. Kevin Owens was reported on the rumors to talk to Triple H, but NXT does have less politics backstage than the main roster, and and notice how much better it is. See, there you go, less politics and everybody working together. I mean, you got to think of yourself kind of like a football team. Everybody's got their job. Everybody's got their job. Everybody's got to do their job, and everybody has to do it in sync. Otherwise, the whole thing just doesn't work. I mean, sometimes you have to be the quarterback and you got to drive your team down the field for that touchdown. Sometimes you're just a lineman there. You got to hold the block. But it doesn't matter. Both jobs are equally important because it affects the whole team. All right. Next, we welcomed William Regal brought out Kana, who will now be known as Asuka. And I do apologize for mispronouncing her name. I was pronouncing it Asuka, but fuck it, I'm wrong. It's actually pronounced Asuka. And every time I hear that now, I keep thinking about Neon Genesis Evangelion back from that anime back from the 90s. And if you've got that reference, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Give yourself like a million points in a Barry Horowitz. Absolutely. If you get the Asuka reference from Neon Genesis Evangelion, oh hell yeah. But she comes down there and here's the thing, they're like, oh, worry, she can't speak English. And I was like, dude, it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, she probably just learned that little spiel, just in, probably about a week or two in advance. But no, it wasn't that bad. Absolutely not. And people are like, oh, well, she's, she doesn't speak English. How's she going to go? We're like, fuck it, dude, get her a fucking manager or do what I think they're planning on doing. And by the way, did anybody not think for a second that people weren't going to interrupt this contract signing, her, being formally welcomed in NXT? Did anybody, Bueller? Okay. No, she gets interrupted by Dana Brooke and Emma. They were saying they were, we're the welcome committee. They're doing the whole Mean Girls routine. And they told her to get out, get out of the ring. And I'm like, okay, here comes the fight. Okay, she's getting out of the ring. She's going to get back in. Now, this is going to be the fight. No, she's walking off. And the more I thought about it, I was like, no, yeah, it was different. I thought it was kind of funny because, I mean, they do this with everybody. I mean, hell, they did it with Hideo Itami. They had the Ascension interrupt, and he beat up, when Hideo Itami beat up both members of the Ascension that night. I knew something was kind of up because Asuka, and by the way, props to the Full Sail crowd for changing her name. I do appreciate that. I've seen some of Asuka's stuff in Japan. I'm interested to see what the hell she does. I mean, I've seen some of the little bit of stuff that I watched in Japan was pretty good and pretty damn fucking brutal. I want to see how much they tone her down. That's what I want to see. But she kind of leaves out, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? Why would you punk out like your new big star? But then NXT, they do this thing. This is where like a picture is worth 1,000 words. Asuka, has limited English speaking abilities, and that's fine. Me, I have limited Japanese speaking abilities. So I'm not gonna bust her balls over that. She does this thing where she walks out and then she cocks her head to the side and gives this fucking sadistic smile. It was so fucking subtle, but it was beautiful. It was like, I'm like scaroused, like I'm scared, but I'm kind of turned on. It's like one of those like weird smiles, like usually it's followed by an axe, that kind of smile. That's what I'm seeing. And it's just like one of those, she had like this stare at both Emma and Dana Brooke, like, you're already dead and you don't even know it. And I'm kind of glad that NXT went with this route because it's kind of just become like like a cliche now that okay, contract signing, now it's going to get interrupted, now it's going to turn into a fight. No, it didn't turn into a fight. And plus, I was kind of worried, maybe it's going to turn into a fight because Asuka was wearing a skirt and high heels. I was like, there's no way they're going to let her fight in that. And even if they did, I would have complained about it because that would have been tacky. And I was like, well, why are they punking out this new signee, especially against people like Dana Brooke and Emma. But just for the fact that we saw that little sadistic smile, that little glance right there, I think that made it all worth it. It was a change of pace. It was something different. And speaking of women here, I did a little, research now. Kind of named herself Asuka after the lioness Asuka. She was one half of the Crush Gals back in the All Japan Women's Wrestling days, back during the 1980s. She was part of the Crush Girls with Chigusa Nagio. God, I probably just fucked that up, but it was pretty interesting. This was at a different time here, and I did some digging here. They, believe it or not, these two girls were not only professional wrestlers; they were a tag team for the longest time. Now I think they did a spot where they feuded with each other for a little bit, and they got back together. But the Crush Girls actually broke ground. They were a very popular tag team, and they were also singers. They actually had, put out albums. It would be like right now. Stephanie McMahon going, okay, Becky, Charlotte, look, we're trying to pull in a bigger demographic here, and we're trying to pull in some casual fans along with some non-wrestling fans. So we need you to form a singing duo, and you're going to come up with some pop songs, and we're going to put it out on an album. And before certain shows, you two are going to come out and perform a few songs, and we'll also, use your albums on the radio to promote the WWE. That would kind of be what it was like. But these two were very popular back in the 80s, along with the Jumping Bomb Angels, by the way, who were also WWF Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, I'm about to go way off the rails here, but I think it's worth checking out. I've just put a link down here in the comment section, so if you want to follow that. It's actually from CagesideSeats.com. There's a guy by the name of Flash King. I don't think that's his real name. But he came up with a three-part series, at least a three-part series so far. It's called Female Pro Wrestling in the U.S. and Japan. And he does some digging. And now I linked to you part 3. And if you're wondering why I linked part 3, because it's got links to the first 2 parts. And I would really recommend checking it out, because it kind of parallels how women's wrestling kind of got started here in the United States. It picked up in Japan and parallels how they ran with each other. And what I think is most interesting about it is it just absolutely fucking condemns the Fabulous Moolah. I mean, it levels some serious fucking allegations against Fabulous Moolah. Basically, straight up calls out Moolah, says she was not a good wrestler. She had limited working ability, and she used her stranglehold to hold back women's wrestling in the United States. She conned a lot of people, a lot of her students out of money. And I think the most damning allegation, in my opinion, was when she was straight up accused of being a pimp. As in, she would take girls that trained under her and would basically say and tell promoters, okay, my girls will give you free sex, and they'll have sex with any of your guys on the roster who want to pay for it, because, hey, it's better to have a steady stream of tail that's traveling with you than to have your guys go out and get into trouble and possible running into issues, and, plus shortchanging them. And the thing was, she wasn't telling the girls that either. So the girls would be going in there thinking, okay, we're just going to go out there and wrestle. But no, they were expected to wrestle and perform some extra activities on the side for a fee, of course. It's pretty interesting. And they talk about Japan, and they talk about the Joshi wrestling, about all Japan women's wrestling. And they had like a strict policy, at least with that one federation, that you retire at 25. So you had all these girls that were starting to wrestle at like 16, 17, 18 years old, then having to hang up the boots at 25 till about a decade later. It actually wasn't until somebody got the bright idea to form another league where they didn't have that issue. So those girls were retiring at 25, jumping ship. And then, boom, it became like a feeder league formed. And it wasn't until about a decade later when All Japan Women's Wrestling dropped that caveat right there that you had to retire at the age of 25. But it's really interesting read. It's on Cage Side Seats, but I put a link down here. There's 3 parts to it. The part that I sent a link to you can find all three links right there off that one. I'm hoping this leads to a match. In fact, I think next week, if I was doing it, I would have William Regal call both Dana Brooke and Emma into his office and be like, you know what, who the hell do you think you are? What do you think what do you think that was? That was embarrassing. That was incredibly rude. Can't believe you did that. You know what? I don't even want to hear your excuse for why you did that. You know what? Since you want to, initiate her or introduce her to NXT so bad, guess what? You're going to have a match against Asuka at Takeover. It's going to be one of you. So pick which one of you is going to face her. And right now, I would say Emma for right now, because I think Emma's the most confident of the two wrestlers. Dana, I don't know if she's ready to go out on her. I doubt she. I just don't know. I would trust Emma more so in a match with Asuka than I would Dana Brooke. Whew. Let's go in next here. They recap the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Then we get to the tag team match here. You're going to have the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Vaudevillains. They actually successfully defended their championships against Blake and Murphy. Pretty good here. Blue Pants came out and made the save early on, ran it off Alexa Bliss, leaving the two tag teams by themselves. Eventually scored the pinfall on Blake with the Whirling Dervish. I think Blake and Murphy are looking great. Same thing with the Vaudevillains. It's worth checking out. Then afterwards, they kind of hype up the next match here in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. By the way, y'all, is anyone else besides me kind of sniffing a rat with this, especially with this team of Balor and Joe? I mean, Joe keeps always referencing Finn Balor's championship title. I could actually say, in my opinion, what I think is going to happen is I think I'm going to change my pick. I think Balor and Joe are going to win it, and right after they win it in the semi-main event, I think Joe's going to turn on Balor, and then we're going to see that's what we're going to see and come over in the UK in December. We're going to see Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. At least that's what I'm seeing on the wall here. But let me know what you think here. Let's see here. LB Clash of Kings. He says Kana and Dana Brooke. I kind of like them, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to call her Kana and not Asuka. And Boom Boom. I was also saying Asuka, not Asuka. Yeah, it looks like it's spelled Asuka, but it's pronounced Asuka. So yeah, I guess that's why it threw me off. But hey, I try to be professional on here. Because when you're with CocoSports.com, we're just oozing professionalism. All right, LB Clash of Kings. I don't know much about older women matches in the 80s and earlier. I know about Moolah, Mae Young, Wendy Richter, and Sensational Sherry, but I did hear about some bad stuff Fabulous Moolah did behind the scenes, which is very messed up hearing about. Yeah, they talked detailed about how Moolah screwed over Wendy Richter, because Richter, believe it or not, actually main evented a pay-per-view. They do mention this in one of the articles. It was over like past a Hulk Hogan match. This is back during the heyday of Hulkamania. I don't know if that was just because of like a TV taping or something to sync up with like a live thing. And when she asked for a little bit more money, they brought in Moolah as the Spider Woman. And this was the original Montreal screw job. I mean, the referee got in on it and everything. And Wendy Richter, I don't think she ever came around the WWE or anything for a good 30 years after this. I mean, she was fucking pissed. And I believe it was Sensational Sherry may have been one of the girls that Moolah pimped. I mean, it's an interesting article. I would really make it, just read it and tell me what you think. Make up your own mind. But all in all, I'll give NXT a win. I think it's worth checking out. I think it was, not that the other shows were bad. I mean, none of the shows were really bad this week. I just think NXT did a pretty good job. I mean, you finally saw Ava Marie embrace the heel persona. Tyler Breeze, he's going to have a match coming up with Apollo Crews. That was announced this week at TakeOver. I want to see where that goes. Is Tyler Breeze going to lose 2 straight special events here? I don't. Can he afford to take a loss after losing to Jushin Thunder Liger? Will there be a return match? You saw the signing of Asuka. The tag team championship match was really good. We saw some more advancement with the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. If you're a hardcore NXT fan, I think it's worth checking out. All right, now let's get to, let's switch to, let's go to Impact. People are like, oh, boom, boom, you hate Impact. You're never going to give them a fair shake. Let's give them a fair shake. Now, TNA this week was, it was okay for TNA. They needed to kind of get out of this funk that they're in. By the way, I should have mentioned this with TNA. I'm hearing, chatterings on the internet because if this isn't true, you're gonna next week will be the last episode of Impact. If what I'm hearing is not true, so next week could be the end of Impact. But what I'm hearing is Impact worked out some kind of deal with Destination America to kind of get them through the rest of 2015. At least through most of December with Destination America. So if that's true, congratulations to them. If not, well, it's been nice knowing you. I don't know what you're going to do, but it started off, this big celebration because now they're NXT. They're going to have to get past this, Global Force Wrestling feud that they had, and now they've got to set up for Bound for Glory. They've got, I think this is where they kind of fuck themselves here, is they spent all this time with Global Force Wrestling, this feud, and I think maybe had things worked out between Big John Gabruck and Jeff Jarrett, maybe this would have been a lot of what we saw last week may have, obviously, hopefully a little bit better, would have wound up on Bound for Glory. But alas, it was not the case. Now they've got about 2 weeks to, book a paper, book, hype, and sell a pay-per-view. I mean, this would be like, Vince McMahon going, oh, shit, what? We got 2 weeks to WrestleMania? Fuck. John Cena, you're going to wrestle Seth Rollins. Randy Orton, you're going to wrestle Sheamus. And Los Matadors, you get the tag team title match because fuck it, why not? I mean, that's kind of what it came off as. But the first match, Team TNA celebrating. Eric Young getting a nice dress down for, I guess, betraying TNA and saying, well, you can't do anything about it because I've got an ironclad contract. Haven't heard that one before. But, he hedged his bet with Global Force Wrestling. It's like, well, but nothing you can do about it. But Dixie Carter made a lumberjack match versus Chris Melendez. This was okay. The problem with this match was, it was a good lumberjack match. You had a good feel-good moment. Chris Melendez did pretty good. He did a one-legged missile drop kick off the top rope. And props to him. First of all, Chris Melendez, thank you for your service. But that one, I'm not shitting you. A one-legged man did a missile drop kick from the top rope. You should have seen him climb up there. I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off, but he did. He gets the drop kick, gets the pin, gets the win on Eric Young. And, they set it up where, like, Young's arrogance, did him in because he could have, finished off Melendez again with a pile driver and got the win. But he got too cocky, and it gave Melendez the opening he needed to pull off the win. Okay, but I think Melendez is now, 1-4 against Eric Young, so, who cares? Next, we had EC3 come out. Or no, he didn't come out. He gave a pep talk and was telling her, and he's had set up a match with Rockstar Spud. Coming out next year, and this is what I think it was LB was talking about earlier. Actually, who was it? LB. He was saying that he believes this was the women's match of the month. for the month of September. The Knockouts champion, Gail Kim versus Jade of the Dollhouse. No, I I think this match was too short. I mean, this thing wasn't even 5 minutes long. Jade, she gave Gail Kim like a right hand, a German suplex into a bridge. Started chopping Gail Kim. Gail starts making her comeback, hits a tackle off the ropes, splash in the corner, then hits her with the Eat Defeat and gets the win. Then out comes the rest of the Dollhouse. We're talking about Marty Bell and Rebel. This brings out Velvet Sky and Madison Rain to kind of even up the odds here. So we got I was kind of hoping for a 3-on-3. Dollhouse versus the Beautiful People. But Angelina Love is pregnant with Davey Richards' kid, by the way. So I think last week, was it last week? I think it was last week when they did that brawl or whatever. Angelina Love got hurt. I think that's how they wrote her off. So she's going to be out for a good 9 months. Oh, probably a little bit longer than that, because as soon as she has the kid, I mean, they're obviously going to give her some time, some maternity leave, and plus she's going to have to get back into ring shape after that. And then after that, they brawl with that. They brawl up and down the ring. Awesome Kong comes out. She stands over Gail Kim and just staring her down. I'm thinking now this is going to be maybe the match. I think they're going to do 2 matches here with the knockouts. You're going to have Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong, and then you're going to see I would almost kind of say let's do a 3-on-2 handicap match. The Dollhouse versus the Beautiful People, or they get like a mystery partner. They can probably bring in like Brooke, kind of even up the odds here, because Brooke's got a bone to pick with the Dollhouse too. So it's not going to be completely what we wanted, but I understand. Angelina Love's pregnant, and I'm not going to bust anybody's balls over that. Next, we had Tigre Uno versus Kenny King for the X Division title. If you watched Ring of Honor's pay-per-view this past week, you pretty much knew what was going to happen. Tigre Uno got the win. He hit a tilt-a-whirl DDT on Kenny King. They gave him a springboard frog splash, got the win. Kenny King actually went back to Ring of Honor. He reformed the All Night Express with Rhett Titus. And they were the mystery opponents for the Briscoes. So, spoiler, sorry. And it's worth checking out. No, they got, and plus, again, if you don't want to hear about it, put your fingers in your ear at home right now about Ring of Honor All-Star Extravaganza. The All Night Express gets the win. I mean, Ring of Honor's already got a deep tag team pool. It just got a little bit deeper now with return of the ANX. So, but you can take your fingers out of your ears now. But Tigre Uno, I just kind of wish there would be a little bit more to this guy, because all I know about Tigre Uno is he's from Mexico, he's a luchador, and he hates Donald Trump. That's all I really know about him at this point. Next here, Ethan Carter III versus Rockstar Spud. This is for the TNA World title. The match itself, this was, again, I wish it would have been longer. It was okay. It was like a little over a 4-minute match. And I think this match was only just kind of like put here to kind of lead with what happened next. Is you had Tyrus, hold up Rockstar Spud. EC3 then tells Jeff Hardy, you know what, end his career. Jeff Hardy obviously doesn't want to do it, and he says, no, end his career. I'll fire you. And then Matt Hardy hits the ring. Tyrus stops him, and then finally EC3 says, you know what, punch your brother. And before you can make a decision here, Matt Hardy low blows Tyrus. This leads to a fight, and then Jeff Hardy starts throwing punches at EC3. Him and Tyrus bail out of the ring. Matt and Jeff stand tall in the ring together. So, all right. And then we followed it up with another breakup here is the breakup of the Revolution. This said, you know what, the hell with this. You know, I'm an original. I destroy who I want when I want. I quit. I'm out. This guy gave Manic the break, you know, I guess the cojones to stand up to James Storm too. He took off his mask, dropped it, said, you know, I'm done with this. This brings out God, what's his name? The Indian dude. Shit. Maha. Shit. Mahabali Shira. Sorry, damn it. I don't know why I had struggled with that fucking name. But, you know, he was like, okay, it's just you and me, Storm. You ready to brawl? We'll do it. And we were getting ready, and they were getting ready to go. And James Storm thought better of it and left and said, you know what? I'm not going to fight this pointless battle. We're going to do it. You know, we'll do it on my terms. So I'm thinking they're saving this for Bound for Glory. Then let's see. Next year we had the winning members of Team TNA. They were all going to compete in a 5-way match here to determine the new #1 contender for the TNA heavyweight title. So it was Drew Galloway versus Lashley versus Bram versus Eddie Edwards versus Davey Richards. Believe it or not, this was the best match of the night in my opinion. This was it made sense to the end. Because thank God Bram was the first one eliminated, because TNA is really not wanting to promote him with his, shall we say, recent legal issues right now. So mercifully, he was eliminated first. And things made sense at the beginning. I think it kind of broke down towards the end, because you have the the Wolves. I'm always going to want to call them the American Wolves from their Ring of Honor days. You know, they were working together, so they eliminated Bram, and then they just decided to have this one hell of a moment to start fucking having, competition here. But they wound up getting eliminated at the same time by both Galloway and Lashley, and then it comes down to those two gentlemen. Lashley, he hit Galloway with a forearm, and then hits a German suplex, and then another one. Lashley went for the spear, but he missed it, and then Galloway hit a running boot right to Lashley's face. That was good enough for the win. So Drew Galloway is going to challenge EC3 for the title of Bound for Glory. What do you think about the setup here? I know LB Clash of Kings is down with it. Was it LB? Was it LB? Was it LB? No, well, Adrian wants it to be Jeff Hardy versus EC3. No, it was guy on the internet who doesn't like reviews. Yeah, he's the one who's down with it. You know, and I don't think it's a bad choice. You know, I think you could save because remember, well, I'll get to that in just a second. But if you're going to have EC3 retain, I'd say, yeah, why not? Let's just have some fun with it, because I think it should be a while here. But it ends with EC3 calling out Jeff Hardy, and he demands he drop down to his knees, ask for forgiveness, and kiss his belt. Jeff Hardy then quits and tells EC3 to take his job and shove it, and then leaves out. So. And he just kept yelling, and the show goes off the air that way. We find out that next week, Dixie Carter is going to announce a special referee for the Galloway EC3 match at Bound for Glory. And we're going to find out what's left of the Revolution here. So, all in all, I mean, it was not a bad show. I just think the things that hurt it this week was the Chris Melendez versus Eric Young. I think it was okay. I just think it was kind of pointless. The knockouts match, I wish that would have been longer. I really do. It was a decent match, and I know they're setting it up to other big things, but I just really wish they would have given us more time. Tigre Uno versus Kenny King, whatever. The EC3 versus Rockstar split, I'll let it slide considering how the storylines had advanced. But the 5-way that they have for the #1 contenders spot, match of the night, I really enjoyed that, and best of luck to TNA. No, and I do mean that. I don't want to see TNA go out of business. I just wish they would get their shit together. All right, let's go to some more comments here. Let's see. LB Clash of Kings. Do you think Emma will ever win a title, or do you think she's just the natty of the division in NXT where she always gets overlooked, even though she probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the current division? Yeah, honestly, would it? Okay, if I was running this, I think Emma's doing a great role on NXT. She's the veteran there. I think she's helping out all those girls a lot, behind the scenes. I can't back any of this up, but this it would be somebody that I would trust to put in the ring. And if there wasn't like this new crop of talent coming up, I would actually have her be the one to beat Bayley, and then she could be the heel champion, and then you have all these girls take a run at her, and she's wrestling with all these different girls, trying to get them ready until eventually one's ready, and then boom, there you go. And plus, I think and this is a huge stretch here, maybe that would be somebody that you could. Well, no, Dana Brooke would probably be the next one. I would probably put if I was going to try to put the belt on Eva Marie, but I don't think that's going to happen anyway, so that point's moot. And if she wins the NXT Women's Championship, I mean, that would be like you and me making the high school varsity football team now. Okay, yeah, it would have been really cool when we were in high school, but now that we're all grown ass adults, not so cool. Yeah, I mean, let's just assume we live in a world where that's possible, but that's what it would be like. And Emma is just somebody, she got passed up. I think she's been unfairly treated and screwed over. And I think this goes beyond the damn, so-called shoplifting charge at Walmart. I mean, something didn't scan on a fucking self-checkout. It happens to, it's happened to me before. It's probably happened to all of us at one point or another. It's time for fucking WWE to get the fuck over it. I mean, come on. But she just never had a chance from the get-go. Emma, I mean, they put her in a no-win situation because they immediately paired her with Santino Marella in like a little bit of a comedy gimmick. I like to dance weird because she had that little bubble dance at the time. And then when Santino pretty much had to retire because of injuries, it left her with nothing to do, and then that shoplifting thing happened, and then just the whole thing spiraled out of control. But now that she's back in NXT, she's putting her career back together. I would like to see her more on WWE right now, but if they're going to just use her to job out to the fucking Bellas, keep her on NXT. I think it's the best place for her. The only way I would put the title on her is if I was moving up a lot of faces and if I was moving up Bayley and trying to get some other people ready, I would put the belt on her, just to kind of hold the spot and work with other girls. That's what I would do. But anyway, also, he says, I didn't watch Bull Dempsey match. There's only two people whose matches I skipped, and they were Bull Dempsey and Baron Corbin. Wow, damn, you're a better person than I am, because hell, I have to sit through a lot of those. I just need Apollo to change his finisher, and when these tough enough winners are supposed to debut, I was expecting them to be released by now, especially Sarah Lee, but the guy who won has a fair shot of making it though. When are they going to debut? That's a good question. Really, I don't think they're going to debut anytime soon. Remember now, they're going to have to get trained. When even like Maven, the first winners of NXT, I think the second guy, I can't remember, not Chris Nowinski, but I think it was not John Hennigan. It was Matt Capitelli. Matt Capitelli, I can't remember who the other guy was though. Al Snow brought him out on Raw for an exhibition match. And then it's like, okay, I see what I got to work with. That was part of the story. And then they sent him down to OVW and they started developing him. I think that's what they're going to do with these guys now. They're going to send them to NXT, and I think they're going to start developing them, start working with them. And I think as soon as they're ready, that's when they'll put them on TV because, what you see on NXT is they're filming about, 3 to 4 weeks in advance. So they'll go down. I think it's typically, you have like a workout, you have workouts, you have promo classes. It's like going to school almost. You have like workouts that you have to go to. You have like promo classes you have to take. You go through all kinds of different things, and then you go out and wrestle on the weekends. So it's like a big school. So I think as soon as WWE is comfortable enough with them jumping in the ring, that's when they're gonna that's when we'll see them pop up on TV at Full Sail. But I mean, I think that's just that's everybody. That's not anything special. I mean, they've signed a bunch of people. There's a lot of people working out right now with the training center, but they're just not everybody's going to be on TV right off the bat. Let's see. And as far as Apollo Crews changing his finisher, maybe, but I kind of like it. I mean, it's a gorilla press slam into a backwards moonsault. I mean, I think it really shows off his athleticism. Maybe. I mean, they changed it with not Baron Corbin, with Solomon Crow, because he had like this weird thing where he bounced off the ropes and fell on you. And then it didn't work, so they changed it to stretch muffler. Maybe they will. So just because he's got it now doesn't mean it's set in stone. But I don't have any problems with it. Let's see. LB Clash of Kings. Is it true that I heard on Facebook that it was announced that Trevor Lee and Brian Myers will have a rematch clause match against the Wolves for the tag team titles at Bound for Glory? If so, then that's kind of interesting. No, I haven't heard anything about that. Like you said, if you heard it on Facebook, take it with a grain of salt, but it would make sense. I mean, it'd be the easy way to do a tag team match. Get a tag team match on the card. Okay, hey, we want our hey, we were the champions and we never got a rematch, so we want our rematch, and we're going to take the tag team titles back to Global Force Wrestling and work it from there. Yeah, but I could see how that would work. Let's see. Also writes, I also kind of stopped watching Ring of Honor weekly show. All I've seen this week was TNA, Impact, NXT, and a little bit of Raw, mainly because of that Page promo. Ooh, yeah, that Page promo. That Page promo was fucking horrible. Everybody's like, oh, it was a pipe bomb. No, it's not. Just because she goes out there and kind of pretends to do a work shoot does not make it a pipe bomb. I think that word, along with buried, gets thrown around way too much in the wrestling community. A lot of the problems she talked about, but she didn't talk about why. Why things are. I think the whole Divas Revolution has fucking failed utterly because of WWE. I swear to God, you could give them. You could give them a $100 bill. They would like stare at that $100 bill instead of buying something or investing in something or saving it. No, they like tear it up, shove it up their ass, and wonder why they're fucking broke. The creative is doing a horrible job. I mean, they're just booking Charlotte to be Ric Flair's little girl, and then they're booking Becky Lynch. She's the weird one, okay. And now you're booking Sasha is just there. Team Bad is pretty much irrelevant, and the Bellas is catty bitches, and that's pretty much where. Okay, either if you're a good guy, then you're like extremely nice, or if you're not, then you're a catty little bitch who's bitching about something. Put the center of attention on me. That's pretty much their two. Pretty much their two go-to personas, and that's why the Revolution has failed. I will agree with the split up here of Team PCB. Because I think it's fucking stupid. It was just like, okay, we've got 3 new women coming up here. Okay, we're gonna pair off into three factions of 3, and we're just gonna start having no, absolutely no. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. No actual thought by WWE creative. It was just god awful. He also says, I definitely think NXT talents on the main roster should have stayed on NXT. Oh, trust me, they're wishing that now. But I have to ask you, Boom Boom, have you been doing the Mahalabi Shira dance? You have the Shira shuffle right now, so let's see you do the dance. Oh, I don't. No, I'm not going to do that because I can't dance. And nor am I going to try to do that. But yeah, all right, keep your questions coming. But let's see, LB. Let's get to since you brought it up, let's go ahead and talk about some Ring of Honor here this week. Ooh, give me a second. My computer is being slow. All right, I guess I'll have to kind of wing it until I get. Yeah, I'll just have to wing it until everything gets good to go here. Yeah, first match we had, and this was all pre-tape stuff back in August, back when Ring of Honor was doing a show in Philadelphia. They had some New Japan stars involved with it here, but the first match we see is Silas Young versus Michael Elgin. And a thing I didn't like about this was kind of I knew that this thing was dated, and they're trying to keep things generic. And I know it's logistically impossible for Ring of Honor to do, but I desperately wanted to see the fallout from All Star Extravaganza. Silas Young, he had well, I don't want to spoil it. Check out All Star Extravaganza, but Michael Elgin. This match was, I like this because now I think Michael Elgin going to New Japan was the best thing for his career right now in Ring of Honor. Why do I say that? Because nobody was fucking excited. Dave, he lives out in Japan. Dave was fucking pissed that of all the fucking people, that they were going to pull from Ring of Honor out to New Japan, it was Michael Elgin. He's like, God, I can't believe it. He's thinking it's like, okay, this is going to be Jeff Hardy at Wrestle Kingdom all over again. No, Elgin did pretty good. He held his own. From all the reports that I watched with Dave doing complete coverage of the G1 Climax tournament, Elgin was pretty much an all-star in that, and I think people noticed that he busted his ass, and I think that really revived his career. And he got this deadlift suplex on it was on off the top rope. It was amazing. Go check that out. He scooped up Silas Young and gave him a running power bomb into the guardrails, threw him inside the ring and hit him with a Elgin bomb, got the win. I think that was a really good match. Interested to see where they take Elgin's career from here. Now, granted, this was recorded about a month ago, but I think they're repackaging Elgin, and I like what I see so far. And I'm a big fan of Silas Young too. Next, we had Caprice Coleman versus ACH. Good high-flying match. ACH gets the win. Much needed, in my opinion. I kind of wish they'd have mentioned his Best of 5 series, but then again, this was all pre-recorded. I think this is before the Best of 5 series was even announced. ACH and his little feud right now with Matt Sydal. But ACH gets the win with the he basically does like a brain buster, then hits I think it's the Dark Star. Anyway, it's a 450 splash. He gets the win. Steve Corino then interviews Caprice Coleman because the last time they were there, Nana handed Caprice Coleman an envelope. Coleman that has now disclosed that there was some cash in there and a letter, and he was saying, you know what, when I read this letter, it didn't make any sense, but I keep reading it. Now it makes more sense. It's like, and after this tonight, it makes pretty sense. So it's looking like maybe Prince Nana going to get back into things here in the management game, going to be with Caprice Coleman. I kind of hope it's not a heel turn because I just don't want to see Caprice Coleman as a heel. I really like Caprice Coleman. I think he's an underrated competitor in Ring of Honor. But it would be nice to see Prince Nana get back out there. I'd like to see him do like a little bit of a face turn. I've seen him do a little bit of face stuff on commentary, back when I think it was Cedric Alexander was wrestling and Vita Scott was out there and he was talking smack about Vita Scott. I kind of like that. I like to see Nana as a face right now and kind of give a boost to Caprice Coleman. And I hope it leads to something big. I hope it leads him up to something a little bit better because Coleman's a better guy than what he's being portrayed. And maybe this is just like, okay, we recognize you, Coleman. We kind of realize we've kind of left you to the wayside, but we're gonna give you a little shot here and put a little pep in your step, get you into the mix here at Ring of Honor. Maybe work him up to like a TV title shot. I'd like to see that. Let's see. By the way, next week you're gonna have to check out. Ring of Honor because the main event's going to be Adam Cole versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That's going to be off the fucking hook. Then we get to the TV main event. It was a six-man tag team match. It was Roppongi Vice, that's Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, teaming up with the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada, taking on the Briscoe brothers, Jay and Mark, and the IWGP Intercontinental Champion Hiroki Goto. Wow, I mean, it was just a fun match. I think the thing that just kind of killed it for me, it was the fact knowing that everything was dated and this was all filmed last month. I wonder how many hours of TV they're filming at one event, because that crowd was fucking dead till they got to this main event when Okada came out there, started doing the Rainmaker pose. I mean, that crowd lit up. And speaking of Okada, did you read his article they had about him in Rolling Stone? Normally, I don't like Rolling Stone, don't like to check them out, but I'll tell you why. That's a different story for a different day. But no, Rolling Stone, he talked about how he liked Ring of Honor and how, he likes the American fans because, the American fans are a lot more involved. They chant his name and they really get into it. He likes that. He's not focused on WWE. He doesn't want to go there. He wants to make Ring of Honor, or not Ring of Honor, New Japan, a lot bigger, expand that. And somebody asked him, well, would you, would you kind of hope that New Japan has like a weekly television show, much like, WWE? And he said, well, that's one thing I'm working towards. I think the U.S. is ripe for the picking if New Japan really wants to come in. And I'm hoping Ring of Honor is the vehicle they use for that, because they were very complimentary of Ring of Honor, saying that their talents were just as good as the talents in Japan, and that's really saying something. And I guess that's why Elgin hung in there in the G1 Climax tournament as well as he did. They also mentioned on there, they brought out Kerry Silkin and Joe Koff out there with Tiger Hattori and another member of the New Japan administration. They announced Ring of Honor will be doing a show in Japan in February. There's going to be a big talent exchange. They're going to go back and forth. So I want to see how Ring of Honor is received in Japan. I mean, right now, Red Dragon is the IWGP Junior tag team champions out there, and we've seen them kind of trade belts. Of course, AJ Styles, former IWGP heavyweight champion. I think the future is just so bright with Ring of Honor. I just really wish they would get a bigger break, so they don't have to film all this stuff like 3-4 weeks in advance, and then coming off a hot pay-per-view, they've got to go back to like stuff that was like a month old. That's that's what I'm hoping Ring of Honor gets off of. But they're doing the best they can, and I don't think Ring of Honor is doing a bad job. I think it's because they've been making good decisions is why they're still in business. And if you look at it, all these companies like the AWA, World Class, ECW, a lot of these companies would probably still be in business now, and they stayed in one territory and just kind of. A lot of these companies tried to grow too fast, too quickly. And I think that's what a lot of these other companies ran into. But at least Ring of Honor knows it, and they've had a smart business model. They've managed to get TV deals, get new TV deals. They've got pay-per-view now. They're really starting to hit on all cylinders, and the product's still good. I mean, this isn't like like a company like where they do the signature at the beginning where they show off some of their old stars. They'll show off Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Claudio Castagnoli. They'll show off Tyler Black and Nigel McGuinness. But they really promote their local their guys, and I think WWE possibly doing raids on their top talent has only made them better. Why? Because you have to create new stars. I mean, do you think Caprice Coleman would be getting some kind of shot or some kind of push, had somebody like Kevin Steen not been taken from him? I mean, it's just a fact of life. I mean, it's like you just have to keep reloading. I mean, and there has been some loyalty. Is Moose? Moose is sticking with the company, so you're going to get those victories here and there, but. It wasn't a bad show. Was it dated? Yes. Was it bad? No. I think the main event was worth. I think there was only 3 matches, and none of them were bad. I'd say if you're gonna only check out one, check out the main event because everybody was just so fucking into that. They came alive when Okada came out there. They love him here. Let's see. Let's go to some questions here. They're gonna have to wrap this bad boy up. We'll kind of give you a schedule of events. So if you got any more questions, comments, concerns, cheap shots at Dave, however you want to do it. You want to send me a bribe, that's great. Just get it down here now. Let's see. LB Clash of Kings. Do you feel like New Japan Pro Wrestling is just kind of using Ring of Honor as their American developmental system? Because that's what it's kind of felt like coming from time to time when I watch Ring of Honor. No, it's just a talent exchange. I mean, you could also say that maybe Ring of Honor is riding New Japan's coattails because they're always promoting, they're doing cross. No, if you're a promoter, you want to get your product out there. You always want to promote it. You want to get this thing. And like right now, I'm using us right here at Koco Sports with, Wrestle AM. If Dave and I are on, if we're like podcasting, we show up on somebody else's show, which has happened before, we always mention, KocoSports.com. We mention, Wrestle AM. Because we're just trying to promote the product and get out there. And it's just like, well, you kind of using this as like a kind of using each other. Well, yeah, kind of, but not like in a malicious kind of way. Obviously, they New Japan likes the Ring of Honor talents. Ring of Honor, they get a lot of buzz when the New Japan guys come over. They get some good matches, and you can make some money. And it's kind of like a win-win. They both make money. So plus the fans really the winners because they get to see some great matches. Let's see. Matt Seidel must have changed his finisher because I thought he used to do the shooting star press like I think he injured his leg in WWE doing that move, so I can't understand why he changed it in Ring of Honor. No, I think he's still doing that same shooting star splash. He's still doing it. And I think he didn't hurt his leg in WWE doing that. I think he hurt that in a car accident or something. There was some kind of motor vehicle accident he hurt his foot in, and it wasn't long. It was a while months after that when they let him go. If you say Nakamura will be on Ring of Honor, and I'll try to watch Ring of Honor this week. I'm still kind of off and on with Ring of Honor, but I'm going to try to watch Ring of Honor from time to time. Yeah, Adam Cole and Nakamura is going to be a good match. Now, LB, if you want to go back and watch All-Star Extravaganza, I would go, hey, go check that out. That was their last pay-per-view. It was this past Friday. You can find that. You can find that online, or you can order the replay if you want to be legit. It's worth checking out. I will warn you, the last 2 matches are kind of like clusterfucks at the end. But all in all, no, it's a good event. That's the thing about Ring of Honor. I mean, their pay-per-views are easy to follow. Like I've been, like out of like Ring of Honor for like months at a time. Then I'll watch one of their events. They do such a good job recapping it and explaining what's going on. You can just get in without missing a beat. And so that's one of the benefits to, at least the way Ring of Honor promotes and books their shows. So let's so I'm about ready to wrap this up here. So last call here for alcohol and or check out stuff here. Let's see. LB, okay. I want to know something. If Eric Bischoff wanted to buy WCW, then why didn't he just buy it and make it an online show or something? No, I don't think Eric Bischoff was really interested in doing that. He had lost a lot of power at that point. And really what happened with WCW is they just, the network, the people with the network, they did this huge merger between AOL and Time Warner. And they just kind of decided, they just didn't want wrestling on their channel anymore. And so they made they offered to sell WCW at an obscenely cheap price, and Vince McMahon couldn't pass it up, and the rest is history. And doing an online show, it's really not all it's cracked up to be. Now, granted, the internet is not what it used to be. It's gotten a lot better. At one point, TNA was internet only. Was in what matches do you remember out of that era? I think the only decent match they had out of that era, at least I can remember, is when AJ Styles finally picked up the TNA title from Jeff Jarrett. And that was short-lived because by the time they got their TV deal to go on to Fox Sports South, AJ Styles lost it back to Jarrett. And then they went on air they actually hit the air. That's when they debuted the six-sided ring, and Jeff Jarrett was the champion again. But online only, I mean, like, it's just difficult, you know, because you got to think about the money that you're going to spend and to put it online. Are you really going to get a good return on your investment? LB also writes, so boom, boom, right here, right now, who should win the Koco Sports co-host of the year? Boom, boom, Koco, Wrestling, Rantin, or LK? Well, I don't know. Let's see. I couldn't do it without me amigo Koco. But hopefully I should win the co-host of the year because I've been with Dave through thick and thin. Wrestling Rantin, he's come out of nowhere, man. He's dude, if you want to see a good fucking wrestling review show, check out Wrestling Rantin. He's actually got like production values and editing, and oh man, I mean, he does a great job. LK, man, it's been fun. We've only been working him with a few months now, but it's been really fun with LK. LK is absolutely amazing. He's a fun guy to be around. I hope he sticks around for a lot longer. But as far as my personal favorite is always going to be Dave. But I've worked with the other two, and you know what? I think I'll probably work with either one of them. I know that's kind of like a cop-out answer. It's like, oh, so who do you think who do you think should be the co-host of the year? I'm going to be biased, say myself, but Koco, no, I like working with everybody. I don't like to think of this as like a competition. I enjoy working with everybody when they stop in. I just do this for fun, so I'm not going to do anything that takes the fun out of it. But all right, let me just do some shameless self-promotion, then we're going to wrap up. I was kind of hoping we get some more thumbs up, but I only got 2 thumbs down. I'm like, well, I'm eating 3. That might get me to at least get me to the playoffs in the state. But that's about as far as it's going to take. It won't get me to the championship game, but at least get me to the playoffs. 8-3. That would also be a decent MMA career. Be sure to check us out here at kocosports.com. That's KOCOsports.com. It's your home for all combat sports. That includes boxing, mixed martial arts, pro wrestling, amateur wrestling, sumo wrestling, taekwondo, kickboxing, judo. If you can get your nose broke doing it, we got it covered there on the site. Be sure to check out our news and gossip section, updated daily, along with our very popular video on demand section. It's kocosports.com. It's where the world goes to kick ass. So I'm going to refresh here, and if I didn't get to your comments, I apologize. Dave and I will be answering questions here on YouTube. We'll also try to get to stuff at maybe a Stump the Idiot. Dave should be back. I think is it this week? No, there's no pay-per-view this week. Dave will actually start the week over on Monday. He'll do the Monday Night Raw review. Hopefully, the whole crew will be back this time next week to do what do you call it? Do the War Room. Sorry, God, I'm getting Koco-ized here. Can't remember shit right now. We need to work on some stuff here. We got the NXT special event coming up in a little under 2 weeks now. So we're going to be very busy here. So that's going to do it for me. Let me refresh here and see if there's any more questions. If I miss you, I apologize. Let's see. New first. Nope, no new questions. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. So be sure to check things out and just stay with us here. So this is Boom Boom. And for my partner, Dave Koco, I am over.